from Crosby, he wants to know, Gibbs, how do I lab and remember all my blitzes? Do I go to practice mode? Do I go to exhibition mode? What's the move to lab?
Yeah, so this is a great question, and I think that a lot of people do it differently. I'll tell you how I do it. I don't necessarily know if this is going to be the best way for you, and then afterwards I'll tell you what I think might be a great way for you to do it, right? Mm-hmm. So the way I lab is I just run the play a million times until it's entrenched in my
practice
mind.
mode.
In practice mode. I'll literally sit there and I will set it up for an hour long.
You only run it against one defense until you go, all right, that's how it works against cover 3.
Watch this. That's step 1. That's like step 3. So do this. I'm gonna come out in this is an important set. So I'm gonna see nickel normal. I'm gonna go, okay, buck slant show 2. I know I like edge pressure. I'm gonna start with that play.
Okay.
Let's lab it. Let's just do it right now. Right?
All right.
So what I would then do is I'd go to gun formation. I always go to a spread formation because I don't want bunch. I don't like, because in your bunch, sometimes the defenders run into the bunch guys. It can mess up the pressure. It can mess things up. It gets
if you're
all
looking
messy.
for a blitz, you always want to go with the gun spread.
Gun spread. Then I go to a play and I say, give me a play that has every single receiver running a route, because I don't want someone blocking. I don't want pass play action. Like corner strike, that's going to mess up my perceived notion of the play successful.
You'll figure that out later.
Right.
You'll figure that stuff out later. You need to get the formula first, and then you add on.
Right, so now I come out on slot outs, right? I then put the offensive stick down and I don't do anything with it from there. Then now I start tinkering. Okay, I do this, I do that. I make my play set up.
So you'd run this how it is and just see.
I don't do anything.
Right.
I just now snap the ball, and then I just sit there and I look at it and I go, okay, what is the strength of this play without me doing anything? And what I need to do is I just run the play 10, 15 times and I don't do anything. And then I can see, okay, well, by design, this is saying that it wants the blitz to come in through that left B gap. Like, okay, 3 times in a row, right? Mm-hmm. So then let's just keep going. This is what I do. Snap of the ball. All right. Okay, by design, 4 times in a row, it's coming in through that left B gap. For this purpose, we won't keep doing it. But now I can see the game wants it to come in through there. Okay, that's fine. I know that quick pressure, like pressure off the edge, is going to be coming quicker. So I want to do everything I can to try and get that pressure to coming off the edge. But first I need to go into replay and try and understand, well, why is this happening? What's happening? So I take a look at the line, take a look at what's happening, and I can see that part of the success of this play is because of the D end and his blitz angle. So the D end's blitz angle, he's not going straight down, he's going in. And what that is causing is the gap here where the outside blitz is going to take the tackle. The D end's going to go in, he's going to pick up, and that's where the outside guy's coming in. Mm-hmm. So the next thing I would say is I don't really want to mess with the line crash that much because it could mess with what's happening. So drop that middle linebacker into a zone. Now here I would say, okay, let me try sliding out the slot corner. Slide him out more. Like, okay, maybe that'll do so. Okay, it worked. That worked. Okay, I slid him out and it worked. All right, step 2, do it again. All right, slide him out, take away Jenkins. Okay, it didn't work. All right, now I do it again and just keep going. What's the success rate over 20 times? Mm-hmm. Right. So now give him a little more. Give him a little more. Yeah, right there. That's good. That's a good one. So I think that'll probably come in. So now see how. So now what I'm now understanding is, okay, the depth of where I slide him is really important, because if I slide him far enough out wide, the lineman's not going to recognize. He's going to just go right to the D end. Now some people will say, well, you know, he's not gonna get in as quick. I'm not too concerned about how quickly. Like, I want him to get in quick, but I want it to be clean. Clean is important because clean puts pressure on your opponent, right? So that's the next step. The third step is, how do I maximize this blitz? How do I maximize the pressure that's coming in? So what you just did there is you dropped the weak side guys into zones. So then the next thing I would do is you show the play art. Okay, I'm gonna drop a guy into a spy. I'm gonna drop into a zone. And does the blitz still come in? Oh, it still came in. So now I can maximize it, right? So now I start feeling confidence in running this.
You keep going until you go too far.
And today you go too far.
Where you're just like, you're just sending this like one guy, then you're like, I've gone.
In the D end.
Yeah, and you're like, I've gone too far.
And then it won't work, and then you're like, oh, I've gone. It kind of works. It kind of worked
It
good.
wants to. But you know when you got too far, then you got to back it off a little bit.
Right. So then it's 25 minutes in, and I've done everything I could, every single possibility of that one side of the field. So they give me the D stick.
Okay.
So then what I would do is I'd go, okay, I know I'm getting pressure off that left side. Okay. Feel good about that, right? Okay, well, what if I want to get pressure off this side? So then I spend the next 25 minutes saying, okay, well, now what if I...
How do you remember it all?
How to remember it all?
Yeah.
It just becomes part of your DNA because you just spent 25 minutes doing the same thing over and over again. So for me, I just remember it. I don't write it down. I don't...
But people should write it down.
That's what I'm going to recommend.
People aren't maniacs.
Correct. I'm not. That's what I'm saying. I'm telling you how I do it. Like, this is what I do, and this is how I come up with things or find things, right? So then I'm like, okay, look. All right, look. 2 guys came in. 7-6, 2 guys came in. So now I have it out of cover 3. I can send it left. I can send it right. I can send it both ways. And then the next thing I would do is I would come in here and I'd say, okay, can I do it from cover 2? Like, will this work from cover 2? Snap of the ball. Oh, it'll work from cover 2. Okay. So then I just keep going down the line, and I do that for every formation.
So you go practice mode, you find a play, you run it over and over, you test the crashes and how many guys you have to send, you test the coverages, you test it both ways.
So let's just be perfectly clear. This is only step 1 of the process of defining and finding the defense, right? Step 2 is then going into a gun bunch and running against a real offense to determine is it good.
When do you sleep?
Not often.
Team no sleep. So I would say a little bit.
I wake up at night and I'll dream. I will literally dream of a blitz setup and I can't fall back to sleep. So then I have to get up, go to my system, turn it on, and if I don't do that, I won't be able to fall back to sleep. And I'm like, I just gotta try. Well, I was just thinking, well, if I bring the safety down, if I blitz the safety, will that have any more success? And then I have to try it.
I like it. Now, the other thing I'll say is some people lab in play now.
Yeah.
Gibbs is a practice mode guy. He eventually gets to play now and make sure it all works. He's kind of like fact checking it in play now. Other people like to get things in the flow of the game. Like they'll just start running random playbooks. I lab this way. I think Problem labs this way. They kind of just lab live in a game and they're like, wow, that stretch seemed to be pretty good last game. Let me just keep running that and see what happens. Oh, okay. Yeah, it works this % of the time when I see this. And they kind of like intuitively do it. Gibbs is more of like a scientist. Like step 1, step 2.
There's strengths and weaknesses to both. Like
right.
I'm very much so like a creature of of the setup, where I often will find it hard for myself to come out of my shell in a game of like, I never tried that. Like
right.
But I've tried 15 different varieties, so I feel like going into a game I have multiple ways to try things. But
right.
Whereas the strength that you have is like you're free flowing. You'll do anything. Like if you are in the moment, and you think of a good play, like you adapt well. I don't typically adapt well the way, and it's kind of the way I prepare to play the game as well.
So you get the beakers out, the lab coats. Good question. You definitely want to write down your steps. You want to practice them. You want to kind of have like a rhythm that you get into, and that's kind of the best way to remember your setup.
So just like a quick little story about like writing it down, right? Like most players that I've come across, they have a notebook. They have their Madden Blitz notebook, and they write it down. Like Zan has one. I've seen Mosta Chappie, like he has one that he writes things down. Dream Killers back in the day, like I'm not even sure if he still plays competitively or even plays, but like he was a notorious guy of like great mastermind when it came to blitzing, and he would write everything down. Like he would send me like Word documents of his blitzes, and I remember being like, why would you do this? Because like I retain everything in my head, but then it's like then you can't recall it, and like it's difficult.
Did I
forget
crash?
it. Like,
Did I crash? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.